We alive, hon?
I tried to send your request.
You hit request. There we go.
Yes, I did. Yes, I did.
All right. Good evening. Good evening. We alive, both.
What's up? What's up? What's up? What's up, good people? What's happening? What's happening, Miss May?
You know, it's Sunday. Sunday's always my chill day, so I'm good. How
That's
are
what's
you?
up. I'm trying to stay from melting. That's what I'm trying to do.
Oh, don't melt.
Super hot out there. But it's always good when we come together on these Sunday evenings
Absolutely.
to kind of talk about us and deal with us. I love that feeling. All right, let's see. We might have to turn this down or something already. But yeah, it's always a good thing when we come together and talk about us. What's up, B? What's up, my brother? Joining in to episode 5 of Chocolate Crowns. Me,
Hey, Miss Tolbert. Thanks for joining us again.
I'm Delrico Fletcher, but as you can see, if you're looking at this down in the lower left hand or right hand corner, I go by Flet. Your favorite cousin.
Your favorite cousin and uncle to song?
Yeah, and we here as always with Mary May from Butterfly Love, relationship therapist, and all that good stuff. But you can definitely introduce yourself.
Oh, shoot. Okay. So, yes, I'm Mary May from Butterfly Love. For those of you who may or may not know me, I am a relationship therapist as well as sexologist. So, dealing with all forms of relationships, intimate, personal, business, to your children, to your career, food, exercise, all of that. I got you covered. I'm also an advocate around violence in the community and in your family. So that will be workshops of subject matter experts that I could come out and help support people heal, cope, and kind of just identify how they could resolve what some of those things are. So that's a mini sketch of who I am.
Yeah, that's what's up. That's what's up. And as always, we're going to kind of just dive into a few topics in our hour and see if we can break down some of the things that are going on in these relationships that we're having, whether it's parents and children, siblings, uh, mom and dad, boyfriend, girlfriend, husband, wife, all that kind of stuff. We're gonna try to break down as much as possible. But before we go any further, what I'm gonna start doing at the beginning of the episode is kind of putting some books in the background of what I'm reading and kind of share some knowledge of what I'm going through, my journey. And there's a wide array of books. I mean, from Black Chronicles to the Bible uh, to the Holy Quran, the Moorish Temple book.
You got to do that closer. They couldn't see that.
I bring it up on you.
Yeah, there we go. There we go. There we go. Drop the knowledge.
The Holy Quran. Yeah. We got it all for you. This one right here, this is exclusive. The FBI war on Tupac and other black leaders. So just something interesting. And then this is my favorite. This book goes everywhere with me. This is my personal Bible, Blacked Out Through Whitewash by Suzar. So dope read. I mean, a very dope read. You can't get enough knowledge in this book. I mean, so if you get a chance, just look it up and get you one. But that's just some of the things that I'm reading and going through and breaking down on my own time, trying to learn and become a better person, for myself and for the relationships that I'm involved in.
Look at that. So there's a couple things that's been happening with people and their intimate relationships that I know we wanted to start the conversation to kind of shape where it is that we go this evening, but it's really totally open. So if we say anything that gives you a ooh or a ah, or you want to explore a little bit more, feel free to drop it in the comments, and we'll definitely touch base on it. And, let us know what lands, what hits with you, and that you want to hear more about, because sometimes the topics that we have may be a little loaded, but it's intentional for us to kind of grow and be better as we relate with other people, to kind of reflect on ourselves, but then be able just to be a better person overall. So I know tonight we're talking about relationships, talking about intimacy, talking about the different types of relationships. So shout out to Ja. Thanks for joining us, Ja. We gave you a shout out last week, Ja, for inviting us down to Upper Marlboro, Maryland for that very critical conversation. I don't want to, around sexual assault and stuff like that, but it's what I do. So, thanks for having us come down last week. So we're gonna talk about types of relationships, and then just what are some of the challenges, but then media drives some of the conversations that we have and some of the things that we do. So Fletch, I'm passing you the mic because you got it, you saw it.
Well, I mean, we could go in all sorts of directions with this topic, but it makes it easier when we use people and relationships that we see in social media and in our daily life, because we all log on to these social media sites and we see in different things that happen. So I kind of use it as a tool to kind of teach. I've always done that with the kids that I've taught in the past, and it's a lot easier when you can see it and you can see yourself in it sometimes. But with that being said, I try to tell people not to live your life through these celebrities.
Right.
Because over the last month, it has been chaotic with some of the stuff that's been going on with some of these relationships. But the crazy thing is, what struck me the most is we talked about entanglements for the last 4 weeks or whatever with Jada Pinkett and Will Smith and August Alsina, but nobody has talked about their kids. Nobody. We didn't see. All we did was we all looked at Jaden and Willow, and we perceived them to be a certain way. They're children of Hollywood actors and movie stars, and so they live a good life. Now we come to find out these kids probably were living in total hell.
Which you
And
kind of explains that the timing of when their oldest, I think it is, their connected oldest wanted to move out on his own, is at the same calendar time that all of this stuff was happening. And children, oftentimes we look at children being seen and not heard. And if people are reacting to stuff, they usually try to coordinate and make plans, and children advocate for their voices, whether you see it as respect or not.
Yeah, and one thing I don't want to do, I don't want to judge their parenting skills.
Right.
Because I'm not the creator, so I can't judge. But what I do know is if they're revealing this little nugget to the rest of the world, then what was going on behind closed doors to these young people?
Mm-hmm.
Like, we have no idea. If I seen a grown man like Will Smith look completely out of it from the discussion they were having, what were happening to these kids? And then we seen them. They looked lost sometimes when we seen them in the public eye. I mean, they doing stuff to themselves. I mean, they getting it on stage and saying all kind of stuff. I mean, I don't have to say some of the things that they're saying, but to me, working with young people, they were crying out for some kind of attention, because behind those walls, we don't know what was going on. And nobody really talked about the suffering, and that's a great word, B. That's a great word, my brother. The suffering that these young people were going through. Nobody seems to, they up there smiling and pounding fists. Like, this is funny. Like, this is madness. And this is where you raise two young people. And myself as well as you, we work with kids, so we see the effects of relationships that they're in, They bring them to schools. They bring them
Right.
everywhere they go.
Everywhere
And
they go. And if they seen violence, they seen people fight, they see you argue, they see you avoid situations, then that is teaching them. It doesn't matter what you tell them, it's what they see. That's the lesson that stays in their mind and says, okay, this is what we need to do.
yeah, like when you say that, that just brings me back to one of the sayings: don't do as I say do, not like I do. So it was just like you listen to your parents, but parents really they don't understand how much they model for kids. Like everything you do. I mean, every moment these kids are watching you. And if we're not mindful, then our kids become the dumping ground for the toxic stuff that we bringing into these relationships. And whether knowingly or unknowingly, which is sad because they're the most important thing in your life, and you should know if you're dumping toxic things into your children, which
Right.
is awful. And nobody seemed to be talking about that over these few weeks. And that's why I kind of brought it up because that it's when you're at a certain age, you're pretty much voiceless. You do as your parents say, you do as your parents do. Um, a lot of parents, if there's things going on in the household, it's like whatever goes on behind our closed doors, you keep behind our closed doors.
Right.
So a kid may think that what's going on is normal. You know what I'm saying? So I just wanted to really just point out, we gotta be mindful of these children when we in these relationships and dumping everything that's on these kids. Like we used to have to remove ourselves as kids from the rooms that parents were in. The adults were in, the kids get out of here.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Usually we
Because
had the card parties or the game nights when we were growing up. Like the kids had
yeah,
their own room. And even though we can kind of ear hustle, we would be engaged in whatever we were doing in the room that may have been good or bad. I know me and my cousins would get into some stuff. However, the adults were separated. And the only place that we would kind of be coexisting was in the kitchen where the food was. Even the adult beverages was not kept where the food was because the kids had easy access to it. These
right.
days it's kind of intermingled. You passing the Bud, you passing the Red Cup Chronicles, you're doing everything in the same space, and it just kind of changes the perspective on how people are.
Well, I'll tell you this: what I've learned working with these children over these last 20 years is that is it 20? No, not quite 20. About
Well, for me, it's
17.
24.
About 17 years.
Okay.
Um, is that if you want something like if you want that you want something from the kid, you want a specific outcome. You need to model that. You need to show them that. I know for me, playing sports like I did, our coach would say something, and then we had to have a coach or an older player actually physically show you how it's done so you can do it the correct way. And we leaving too much for these kids to assume. And another big thing is these kids will put you in a category where they won't respect you. You doing certain things that they saying, oh, you doing stuff a young boy would do.
Right.
You doing stuff a young boy would. So if you drink, okay, we all might have our favorite Tennessee or glass of wine or something, but you don't do that with no young people.
Right.
Keep that separate. And I was always mindful of that because when it's time to chastise or correct a young person, they gonna remember that when you were down on a level and now you trying to lift them up and elevate them to another level.
Right.
They looking at you like, no, you old head, no, you was over here smoking the bud with me, young boy.
Right.
Like,
Right.
we got to be mindful about
Of what we
what
do.
we do with these
And
kids.
I want to shout out Miss Tolbert. I believe she's the queen and sister that we met when we were in Baltimore last week. And she says even when you think that they are not watching, they are. And so very, very true. And even the item that you had in your store with the afros and the different hairstyles that you said was an earring holder, my initial thought when I saw it was a mirror, because I do a lot of workshops with young people, and I'm always trying to get them to see how it is that they see themselves, what narratives that they hear, how they can kind of break the cycle. And like that was just so powerful, to kind of see that. As I hope that I'm able to facilitate that activity in a different way, because I already usually do that. But yes, they definitely see what we're doing. So if your living room is live and popping with curse words and aggression and fist fights, when they come to school, when they get out in the community, and you say, when you show up, you're like, okay, why are you out here embarrassing me? They doing what you taught them.
Okay, so I want to shout out to sister. You can't see this, but this is her card.
You might dug it out.
She inspires 443-415-4789. Facebook, IG, Shawanda Howe. Beautiful sister down in Maryland. We hooked up with her. We're gonna post the information as well. So if you ever in the Maryland area or our friends and family down in Maryland, we're gonna go ahead and show her some business because she's dope. She got a lot of dope products, dope apparel. So we're gonna definitely shout her out. But listen, to me, out of everything in this world, if you're lucky enough to have children, you're lucky enough to be put in a child's life to help them raise and blossom and elevate. You got to take that very seriously. That has to be the most important thing in your life, because a lot of these kids, especially for our men, and there's going to be a few brothers out there like BJ, my boy Nardo, there's going to be some brothers out there, and we got to grab more than just our own.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's difficult sometimes. I can't lie. Being a teacher wore me out. Being a teacher in Philly and in Camden, and doing the mentor and college prep work I did back in Pittsburgh, it wore me out. But that didn't stop me from grabbing some young boys that I might not have been their teacher, but they were on my daily journey to wherever I was going, and I made it a point to stop and give some jewels and some gems. So we got to grab our young people all the time, no matter what, and start trying to raise our young people, because if all they're getting is this social media and what's on the internet, that's no good for our young people. So it's upon us men, us women, us kings, us queens, to grab these young people and start to elevate and raise their levels as well.
So let's jump into relationships. Like, what kind of relationship best represents you? On the bottom, you'll see it says situations, entanglements, or committed love. Like what type of relationships are you guys experiencing or living your best life in? I know it's a delay on the comments on both of them, but you can go ahead and share. As we were just kind of preparing, there's a lot of different types of relationships that's out there in the world.
Well, I know if you in this new entanglement, you crazy as hell. I can't. There's no other way to put it. There's no other way. I'm feeling bad for you, man. I'm feeling. I mean, and over time, we were talking earlier, and over time, words and things change with each generation. So we probably called entanglement something else back in the day, but right now, if you in one of those, and if it's anything like what I just seen Will and Jada and the young August Elsina, I feel bad for you. You know what I'm saying? Like that's for me, that's a little bit too much. You know what I'm saying? I'm not 20 anymore. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm cool. And Jada, she looked like she bored and got too much time on her hands. She's entangling young people. So
she's a predator. She's a predator. That's more than cougarlicious. That's a predator type lifestyle.
No. We're not gonna call her a predator.
Why not?
Because it's legal what she did. It's okay, you could call her a predator, but it's still legal what she did. He's just younger.
Right, but on ethics, he came to you because he was fragile and broken and hurt, and then you manipulated the entire thing because you needed a certain scratch. Like,
Of
that
course, I mean, yeah, we talk if we're gonna go ethics and by the law. Of course, she was wrong. She
she
was
was all the
she
way wrong then.
she was dead wrong. But she looked like she found, like she might. I wonder if you go back in her past, if that's who she liked. She liked broken men. Was Will broken when she got with him? Who knows? I don't know, but
I know some
that
of the shows said that she had that type of relationship where they commented to Tupac and to somebody else that she dealt with that they had broken situations. So, I don't know.
well, I could tell you this. I mean, her and Pac were really good friends, and I mean, we don't know if they ever took it there, but he may have known she's not the one to take it there with.
Right.
She's Listen, when you come from these cities on the East Coast, these cities be hard. So when you're dealing with some of the women from Baltimore, Newark, Philly, Jersey, New York, yeah, you got some sisters who are tough, man. And if you showing any crack, any signs of weakness, I mean, we just watched Tahiri and Vado, and we can go into it now on the marriage boot camp. She bust him in the eyeball with an apple. She bust him in the eyeball with an apple. And I'm not condoning hitting anybody, especially no woman. That's corny. But it's crazy because she was ready. She was prepared to be hit. She was ready. She understood what she was doing, that she's done it before and got hit before and was prepared to be hit.
Right.
Like, to me, that's psychotic. We are losing it then. If I know I'm in a relationship and you push my buttons and I spaz out, I know you going to, like, I gotta remove myself from this toxic relationship.
That's what you say. But what we saw on TV apparently is what they live every single day. And she went all into his personal coping skill, personal elevator, and pushed all his buttons till, and I'm not excusing it by any stretch of the imagination. However, if you constantly going after somebody, they can only take so much. So it's like they're going to react and respond. And then, with that type of show, you always want to know, is it for ratings? Are they doing something that's going to create it to be a ratings or something like that?
Yeah, you're right. Somebody said Will was coming off of divorce and Fresh Prince was ending, so he was broken.
Right.
Easy prank. Come here, boy. Come here. But back to the Vado and Tahiri. Like you said, we're not condoning. I'm hoping our brothers, no matter what, and I know it's hard. I know it's hard because I've been there. I've been poked. I've been prodded. I've been used a B, you soft. And this is part why our brothers don't open up. Because when you do open up, it feels like somebody's going to use that against you down the line. So we're very guarded about the things that we say. And it's sad. It's very sad because in your home, you should feel like I'm not judged. I can say whatever I need to say to my partner, and I'll get honest, productive feedback without the judgment. But as you can see, those relationships, they never end well. They're always going.
It's never mutual. Just like if you're cheating, it's never a mutual ending. Even if you feel like you had all of the rules, all of the expectations laid out, it's never a mutual ending because one person is going to want to terminate it before the other person is in a position to say, okay, I've had enough. And if they will just keep pushing the envelope until they really realize, or that they transition into somebody else that, they become stalking you and, slicing your tires, messing up your car. If your car is important to you, it's just like, because they can't let go for whatever reason. And the relationship has probably been over, or it was never truly a relationship. It's probably a situationship.
It was physical. Listen, we are human beings. We love physical. We love physical. So if she got good cookies and he come and rock the bed like you wanted rock, you're gonna stay a little longer. You're gonna deal with some BS. That's the
Right.
reality of it until we learn deep down who we are. Like because that the physical act that can happen again. You just think that this person is the best in the world.
Right.
I mean, because I've had relationships, I've known people in relationships. You stayed longer, and there was a reason why. And for men, I'm giving you the inside to men, women, because it be physical. She got a big old butt, or she does something crazy in the bedroom.
That you don't think you can get consent from somebody else to do that same type of crazy.
Yeah, yeah, she got gold going everywhere. It's gold everywhere. You, it's a room full of gold, and you ain't getting that everywhere, man. That's the reality of it. Like Vado said in the interview, he said there's some times things are really good.
Right.
And we know when that is because with y'all can't sit down and have a meaningful conversation without you getting hit in the head with an apple. And,
But you know, like vulnerability goes on both sides though. So like it's not always one person more than the other. Like the vulnerability to be able to trust and have those authentic relationships is challenging on both sides because depending on how people have felt safe or not felt safe before, if they haven't resolved whatever was broken or trust that was broken before, then it comes up in their relationships one after another, and they don't realize that they're the common denominator that's causing for some kind of interpersonal that they need to reflect.
yeah, most people take the toxicity from one place to the next. They never look in the mirror. Like it's
Right.
always somebody. Like the human pride, the human ego is in the way for most of us getting so much better because it's always somebody else. And like you said, we hear, I mean, I love women, so I only can speak from a man's point of view to where you hear the women say, all men ain't sugar honey iced tea. But it can't be that, sweetheart.
No.
Like you're the common denominator for 27 guys. 27.
27?
Okay, 47. You the common denominator for 47 guys since 1988. But it's all men. You know what I'm saying? Even in reverse, men do the same. Oh, bees ain't this, bees ain't that. That's the man putting it all on the woman because she
Right.
done caught him doing some BS. You know what I'm saying? She trying to spend some time. She wants you to communicate. She wants you to open up. So both sides, we got our own things we got to work on, and we got to look in the mirror and stop saying it's the other person because it might be, but you got to understand where you at fault as the person as well in this relationship.
And you know that always makes it like very. It doesn't have to make it very challenging. However, it's challenging because people don't want to face the facts around who they are and what it is that they bring into this relationship. And it's like you need to at a certain point, or you're going to keep experiencing the same thing over and over again, whether you're sabotaging, whether you're creating the conflict, whether you're going after the person and they're leaving and that communicates something different to you. Like
Right.
you are the common denominator. So when you realize that something is always happening, you gotta like say, okay, let me pause for a second. I am the common denominator, and where can I go? And you can't go to your friends to really process that because they're gonna be team. If it was me, I don't live that life, but if it was me, they'd be team Mary. You know, and they'd be like, okay, well, Team Mary, we gonna ride or die with you. You need to go whatever. And if that's what you're looking for, if that's the answer you're looking for, then you all in. They're not going to challenge you to even think differently, and you would hope that your real friends would, but you don't always experience that.
No, yeah. That's when you learn who your real friends are. When they ain't
Right.
scared to really tell you like you dead wrong. Shout out to my homie AJ Anderson. That's my best friend because I call him today and he'll be like, Fletch, you was dead wrong. And when you got friends like that, it only helps make you a better person.
Right.
When you got them yes men around you who always saying you right and they standing on your wrong with you, I call that mentally insane. You can't get me to you can't get me to stand on your wrong with you. No, I've done enough wrong in my life to stand on my own. I'm not standing on your wrong with you. Like, back in the day, your homeboy, yo, you got to tell my girl this. You got to, no, I'm not. Don't get me involved with your shenanigans, man. Don't. Okay, that was a word we used to call shenanigans. Now it's called entanglements.
Now it's called to yes, they didn't got a new word for it.
but yeah, don't. We got to stop standing on it. If it's wrong, it's wrong, man. And we got to be able to check our friend or our people that we in this relationship with and tell them, listen, man, there's something better you could do than this, man. There got to be another way about going about it instead of bringing your friends in it to bring your friends down with you. Like that's crazy. But I think to I kind of had a question for you because we had
Get ready. Let me get ready. Let me take a sip. Go ahead.
okay, so we had the relationship on marriage boot camp. We had Will Smith, Jada Pinkett.
Mm-hmm.
We had the video that was going viral of the young brother who was driving his woman's car, and the mom was sitting in the front seat, and the woman, the wife was hot. She was pissed off. Like,
Right.
mama, you gotta get in the back seat. And the son, he was caught in a dilemma. He didn't know which way to go. So I posed the question that I'm going to ask you. I posed it to the men that are my friends, and I'm going to pose it to BJ as well, been on Instagram, and
Okay.
all my people out there, actually.
And
So,
hopefully Relentless Lamar is still here too, so he can comment.
yeah. So
And Jaja.
when you're in a relationship, and we're going to start with a marriage. When you're in a marriage, give me the hierarchy of the women in this marriage. Does it go your mother, your wife, the child? Does it go the child, the mother, the wife? Does it go the mom, the wife, the child? Please enlighten me, because when I seen the video, I seen it differently than everybody else.
Right.
I seen a soft ass man. Yes.
So Jaja saw it.
I seen a soft man. I
Right.
seen a soft man who was raised by a mama who probably doesn't have a man in her life right now.
Right.
I seen a woman, and these are all black people. I seen a black woman who was hella disrespectful of a mother because it was her vehicle.
Which is
And then,
irrelevant.
right, but then ultimately what I seen is a man who was never shown how to be a man.
Mm-hmm.
How to deal with the women in your life. Because if he did, he would have had a better game plan than what I seen. So me asking you, because knowing you were raised with parents together, heart together, daddy's still girl.
All day.
So tell me, in your point of view, what do you think your father's hierarchy was, or how do you think it should be?
Oh yeah, I don't know what my father's hierarchy was. Because I definitely am and was a daddy's girl. It's so that's a loaded question, because I think it comes to integrity of the family. I think it's so much that we don't know. Like, did the mom was it entitlement to the front seat, or did she have some limitations that she couldn't get in the back seat? It could be health reasons, it could be space. The part of whose car it is, I think, is totally irrelevant. Like, if that's it is your car, it's not the time to stage up your partner when everybody is around, because then that's not going to look good on the back end when you're trying to have your intimate moment or communicating, something different, because that's going to stay in your partner's head, whoever is doing the digging, in the wrong way. So the mother though is just there temporarily. So why would it be a problem to sit in the back seat? Like, you trying to do a power and control between and put your husband in a compromising situation when it's only to go from the house to the restaurant. Is that really a big deal to sit in the back seat? We know who you are. You the woman of the house, but we're not in the house right now. We're going to have a family dinner, and you about to make this dinner, just totally stressful for no apparent reason. And it doesn't always have to be that way, but it's, again, so many things that you don't know that is going on with that particular couple, because they could have been fighting about the mother-in-law and why the mother-in-law have to come to dinner. It's just so much information that, and I didn't see the video. I only know from conversations with people, that you really have to set the standards in your family, and trying to assert your role is a conversation that you and your partner should have way before you start having family dinners, or way before you guys even get married. If you always got to prove yourself, you shouldn't have to prove yourself. Like, you are the wife. You're going to be the wife before the dinner, after the dinner, during the dinner. They know who you are. You got to make yourself be seen.
I think that she thinks that, listen, a marriage can end. That's what's nervous about. She nervous. It can end. Listen, honestly, before we
That was
even
my honest.
huh?
That was my honest. And what Jaja said, power control.
You were speaking facts. I ain't saying I agree or disagree. You were speaking facts. But all I'm saying is, this brother, like you said, should have handled it before we go get in the car before dinner. But to me, it's deeper than that. It's way
deeper.
It's way deeper than that. And he's such a mama's boy that he had to go and find another woman to replace what his mama used to do. Like, I seen it, and then they're both struggling for it.
They competing for, yeah,
definitely. Like, that's my baby now. That's my baby now. So they're both fighting for a grown man who never was shown how. And listen, we can rewind it back because I come from a single parent mom.
Mm-hmm.
So if there's no man in the house and mom is not in tuned enough to get you around men so you can emulate what men do, you're gonna start emulating some stuff women do. You're gonna start being emotionally in your bag instead of thinking about stuff that's going on. So now you're going back and forth with two black women on the street instead of having enough power and enough savvy to end this, whatever it is,
right,
between two women. Because I would have never married a woman who doesn't have respect for my mother.
Right.
That's number one. Number two, I would have been put my mother in place. I'm not your husband. She need a husband. Listen. If her husband was there,
right.
Number one, they would have been in. Her and her husband would have been in the other car anyway.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, the father knows. Bring your ass on. We going in our own car. You know what I'm saying? Like instead of the arguing, a man would have showed you ways to resolve the issue before we even get to the point where the issue is upon us. We would have never ever got to this point. But the mom, she wants to stay mom. She's scared because now the son is married. Like, it was a whole dynamic and stuff, and it was just funny. So I wanted to bring it up, but I wanted to tell, ask you, and then tell the guys that are listening. Sometimes it can be difficult. Sometimes we come from relationships where you were raised with just single parent mom in the house. You might not have had both parents. You could have the person you're dealing with now had both parents. You might have had both. They might not have had. So it's a mixed bag. So when we start to get into these relationships, we got to understand this, man. You got to ask these fundamental questions early on before
And
you get
pay
married.
attention to the cues that you see. Sometimes we see stuff and we'll be like, okay, that's not really gonna happen when we actually make a commitment. But if they're doing it and you see it, believe what you see and what you know. You need to have a conversation about everything.
Listen, stop making excuses because you love this person and you want to mold them and you think you could change them and you think because
Mm.
women think they the nurturers, they can fix everything and his no. Sometimes people are who they are. It's no changing them. They gotta change themselves and then maybe come back and try it again. But
Right.
when you bring them into your space and then you wonder why all that toxic stuff is now on you, why you now sad, why you now not happy, why your skin not glowing, it's because you brought this awful energy into your relationship because he had curly hair and nice and he smelled good, but he don't do nothing
And
else.
society told me to stay with him, or he had drove a nice car, or my friends were like so excited about what it was they believed that he was going to offer the relationship. And it's just like, okay, you in fantasy world. Let's come to real life, because the material things is not what happens behind closed doors.
Oh no, 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 no. Not at all. And people in quarantine right now who got big houses still going through it, going cuckoo right now.
Right, because now they got to navigate stuff differently. So Jaja saw the video and he said, it seems like to me like there's never been a bridge between the wife and the mother-in-law. True, as evidenced by the verbal exchange. Selfishness on both the mother-in-law and the wifey, and its inadequate conversation regarding the various roles the wifey and the mother-in-law. Definitely, if they had a better connection and a better relationship, things would function and just be totally, totally different. You
Yeah.
wouldn't even be having, it wouldn't be a video that's going viral talking about how they were not getting along and the conflict that was ensuing, because it would just not be that type of conflict or that power struggle or that disagreement, because it just wouldn't exist. It would be like, oh, family going out today, mom got the front seat, I'm going to the back. It's only because it's Sunday and we go, this is what we do on Sundays. It would just be a known expectation.
Shout out to Corrupt by Nature, beautiful soul. She comes in the treehouse and supports, so I appreciate her.
Oh,
Appreciate
awesome.
you.
Thank you.
But listen, also when I was listening to the clip, there was a little part towards the end of the clip, and the young lady called his mother a bitch,
Mm,
and like to me, there's no going back from you called my mother the B word. Now to me, I don't. I'm a little older, so I come from old school where words meant something,
right,
and you stand on it. So there's not as my woman, as my wife.
right,
If she call your mother that, what has she called you?
right.
Like, see, I'm looking at it differently. Like, if she could say that and it fly on the open street to
Hmm.
your mom who gave you life, what are you dealing with? And as a man, to be honest, I have sympathy, but then I don't.
Okay.
Because as a man, come on, brother. She 5'1". All she got is her words, and if she hitting you with them, she's being crazy, crazy disrespectful. You can't call Queen Lean Mama Joe a bitch. Number one, she gonna beat you up. Number two, I never talk be no Miss Jackie. You call Miss Jackie a B word, you get beat up. Like
Hmm.
there's some things, and it shocked me. I'm like, oh, hold on, the brother, he took that.
Right.
Oh yeah, there's some awful stuff, man. And so we gotta listen, man.
But we gotta do better. Just overall, like when you're thinking about like how it is that you communicate, it's just certain things that you just really have to. I want to say expectations. I don't want to say rules. I don't want to say, you know, it's certain things that you just have to commit to, that's important and valuable in your relationship, and language is one of them. You don't want to be disrespectful, because if you're disrespectful in public, like you just said, imagine what's happening at home. Just like the clip that where the guy attacks the girl and starts choking her. he was sitting there for a while. So imagine what happens when there's no cameras around. You saw what happened when it was. There was restraint. But usually one of the partners continue to egg you on, continue to come into your personal elevator, continue to try to, provoke you in some particular way. And, a couple episodes ago, you said they need to leave the house,
He should
kind
have
of.
left the show. He should have left the whole show.
Right. Right. But people are dealing with this on a day-to-day basis, in regards to conflict in their relationships, especially now as we try to evolve from quarantine lifestyle that, they've been together more than they probably have since the beginning of their relationship. And it's like they begin to learn stuff that they didn't know about their partner even existed or had evolved if they've been together for so long. Or it's some positives too, because they're like, okay, I miss hanging around you, and we got so busy. But right now we just kind of talking about like the challenges that evolve as relationships grow and break off, come together, break off again. Sometimes you need a break. And
Listen,
taking that break for whatever the reason was that you need to take a break can be structured by a relationship therapist, or it could be structured by yourself, however it is that it works best for you. But you just got to be clear on what is the purpose of the break and what's supposed to be accomplished.
and I mean, it's sad. And listen, man, this is why I call America wickedly brilliant, because we got people still protesting, and we out here trying to fight for every bit of justice and everything we can. But these TVs are consciously putting out black men and black women going back and forth at each other, and they used it as a clip to promote the show for the next day.
Right.
So that's why I'm saying we can't live through these stars. We can't live through these entertainers, none of these athletes, none of these actors, none of this, man. This stuff is the matrix. You will be caught up and lost in it, man. And like, you don't know if the people doing it are acting or if they really living like this.
Right.
And we go to and we're going to these platforms, not not saying that they're going to resolve our problems, but we're going and we're getting information downloaded into us on the way problems are resolved. And you're only going to do what you see.
Right.
That's why it's called programming, because they program you to do what Tahiri did by busting her man in the head with an apple, and then Vado sitting there for 40 seconds trying hard. Every brother in America felt it. He was like,
Right.
"Don't get up, brother. Don't get up." And something just pulled him. And if you at that point where you got to put your hands on a woman that you probably said I love, and you thought she was beautiful and
And we
everything
not
else.
condoning it. We just really going through the experience of what people experience. Go ahead. I'm sorry. I had to put that out
No,
there.
yeah, man. Listen, man. But just not to belabor the point, but we can't if we in those relationships. No, that's not how it's supposed to go. Arguing or discussing and coming up with a resolution. If you ain't
Right.
coming up with resolutions after you argue, run fast, man, because then you're gonna repeat the same cycle on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. You might have sex on Thursday and Friday, and then back at it Saturday.
Right.
Like, no, man, that's not how it's supposed to go, man. You're supposed to be able to come to your partner, holler at them, talk about whatever it is. If y'all have a disagreement and our voices get hyped, because I'm hyped, yeah, blah, blah. Now let's calm it down and let's find a solution, man. If you're not trying to find solutions, then what's the point?
And usually when like if you heighten because you feel some type of way, you feel violated, you feel disrespected, you got all these range of emotions happening. You gotta, before the argument happens, talk about when we're in conflict, what is it that we expect, and create a code word. So if the person that you're talking to is so animated and so argumentative, and like you feel like they about to become all in your personal elevator and push all your buttons that's going to provoke you to go to that next step that you once, so aggressive, um, you got to figure out a code word. If that's pineapples, if it's blueberry pie, whatever it is, you create that in your relationship, that you say that, and it's an automatic, okay, we're shutting off and we coming back to the table another time. And if we come back to the table and we get to the point where we're not hearing each other, because if you're yelling, you're not hearing each other. Like, there's no way that you could resolve anything because you're not on the same even playing field. So it's good to come with note card. I know this sounds like so scripted, but sometimes to keep yourself focused, that you don't get distracted by the person's reaction or response, you have to kind of organize your thoughts so that you can make sure that you get out what it is that you're trying to get out. Because it's important on the other side. You guys will grow so much more better, so much better on the other side of the argument than you did coming into the argument.
That's why it's so hard when you're a young person and you're in a relationship, man, because there's so many obstacles. There's so much that comes with this, man, that you just now learning yourself. You're not in a position to be growing with nobody and you that young and you don't even know who you are, man. But
Right.
like you said, I mean, the role playing thing, I ain't big on shouting out fans, fans. You know what I'm saying? I mean, no. But before we get to
You
that
just
point,
walking out.
yeah, no, I'm not just walking out, because before we get to that point, I've talked to you. I'm big on rapport. So when you know that I'm agitated, when you see me go with I'm not talking, I'm shutting that. Okay, that's what yep. I prepared you for this.
Right.
Or I prepared you for the, you heard the door go boom. And that's me walking down the steps. That's me. I'm going in the car. You know what I'm saying? I'll be back. It might not happen always like that. And then I gotta know hers. You know what I'm saying? Hers might be something different. And if you really in this relationship with each other,
Right.
you empathetic, you know what I'm saying? You're able to walk in somebody else's shoes, and you're able to understand and understand what they're going through, and put yourself there and say, okay, this is what they mean by that. This is why we talk 3 months in advance before this craziness happened. So
Right.
it's second nature. We practice this. We practice. Be honest with them. That's the way it works. When an issue come up, that's why you have insurance. It's just in case. We doing it just in case, man. So
Right.
you big on the role modeling and the code words and all. Yeah, that's fine. But people do what works for you, but put in the work before the fire happens, before the BS hits. Put the work in early.
So Martin is saying if you're mature enough, you can kind of re-script it or be able to kind of approach it the way that we're describing. And then I also see on Instagram one of your 412 fans saying that, now him and his wife are looking at it jointly, looking at us each week because they're growing from these conversations, which we definitely, definitely appreciate that. And to create that maturity to have those, right or wrong, weak or strong type conversations, is like you really have to be vulnerable and trust that your partner is ready. And if they're not ready, you gotta do something, put something that's gonna help facilitate you guys getting on the same page. Because if you're not mature enough, it's gonna be a lot of stress. And if it's a lot of stress, it's a lot of non-intimate moments happening in that relationship. Because if your communication is off, so is your intimacy.
I'll tell you this. Shout out to some of the brothers. I did ask you the same question I asked you about the women in their life. Shout out to my cousin Brandon Payne. And these are some of my Twitter followers. Shout out to my brother from Rutgers, Rayshard Crawford, X-Ray Dream. Green Believe and Grind is his company down in Atlanta now. And one of the things that he said that was big to me, that stood out to me, he used the word we, I think, 7 times. So every sentence he said we. So it was never anything about I. It was nothing about I, except for, rest in peace to his mother. She was a beautiful soul, man. She opened up her house anytime I went to Richmond, Virginia, for a little big head boy from Pittsburgh. She showed me nothing but love. But She what's up, cuz? What's up, Dub? Shout out to Dub. That's another one of my brothers. But he used the word we so many times, and that's another one of my best friends, Dub. He's been married, man, and I watched the growth in him. But Ray Sharp used we so many times. It was like they have they have so much equity put into this relationship that it's gonna do nothing but sustain anything that comes along. Because if you talking that we together, we, they gonna handle anything that comes across their path. I mean, with flying colors, and I mean, and nothing is gravy, nothing is 100%. And shout out to Brandon, shout out to B Stunner from New York, because these brothers was putting, they all had very good perspectives, and they were chameleon about it. They changed up. So
Right.
your mom might need to be put in the position that she's first because she might have some kind of sickness, and she got to be shown the love. And then the other brother said, well, the woman might need to be first because she's pregnant and she's having postpartum depression, and there's things. So it was kind of a fluid thing. And then one brother said, well, my daughter said one because she's going through some teenage issue where she's dealing with her period and all kind of things. So, I asked some brothers that I valued their opinion and just got a lot of great feedback. And one of the things that stood out was just that you got to talk, man. You got to talk for these relationships to work. You got to be in communication with your partner. However y'all communicate is how y'all do it. But you gotta be in communication with your partner. So I appreciate the fellas that I asked, that I surveyed, man, and I'm gonna continue to do the same thing because just me having my opinion is one thing, but me going out and doing some homework and
Right.
studying and understanding everybody's relationships is only going to bring more quality conversation to the podcast.
So Martin is sharing that, but a lot of folks aren't mature enough to know who they are and how they show up in their relationship. That is facts right there. That is fact. So the thing about helping people become mature is gently, respectfully having those courageous conversations around what actions that they're doing and how it impacts the relationship. It's not the time to nitpick. It's not the time to, blame them for going to the mall and buying 5 pair of shoes when they got 500 already in the closet. It's not that time to really do that. But if you can create a nurturing, loving environment that is non-threatening, even look at a certain TV show and pull the elements that are related to your relationship that's going to help them talk about it in the third person as opposed to looking at themselves, and that they will hopefully pivot the mirror to look at themselves. That's the easiest way to help build maturity. Because a lot of times when people are not mature about these courageous things that impact relationships, it's because in their family, they're only going by what they know or what they've seen. And if they change, they feel either are they being loyal or are they being disloyal to their family of origin by doing something different, when it really shouldn't be a comparison to anybody outside of the house, but it often is. And we usually often invite the noise of the outside relationships into our community and into how our finances are, our shopping, our activities, because people are always trying to live through you, whether you are all together or not.
Yeah, well, I know people always say, and I've heard women say, you can find another man. So if you have that mentality,
Right.
if you've lived your life, let's say for 30 years, and in the same immature manner, but you got into year 30,
Right.
you think it works. You
Right.
think it really works. So that's why it's so hard for people to change. That's why it's so hard for these white folks that we trying to get to change now because they don't see nothing wrong.
Or we're trying to assimilate to their culture as opposed to honoring our own
Oh yeah,
culture.
that's retarded. We retarded for that. When they
So I just
when they
want to
talk
say
about
really
segregation,
quickly, I know I put the message up in Instagram. If you guys would like to continue as we close our conversation in probably another few minutes, join us over on Facebook or follow us on YouTube. It's live at the same time. right now, so Instagrammers will see you on the other side.
No, I
Um,
appreciate it.
yeah, thank
Listen,
you.
um, but that's part of the problem with what's going on now is when people are stuck in their ways and it's
Mhm.
worked for so long, it's
Mhm.
hard to change that. Like you said, when they talk about getting into somebody else's culture, listen, man, integration was probably awful for us. That's a whole nother conversation. We
Yeah.
probably should have stayed segregated, and then they would have had to come to us.
Right.
Had to come to us instead of integrating our culture with them, and now they steal and take and rape and pillage everything. I mean, I could go on and on about this conversation, but
There's
um,
always room for a part two.
yeah. We just gotta. I mean, listen, man. People, it's a struggle. It's nothing easy. Nothing easy with this. You gotta put in the work if you want the results. You know what I'm saying? You don't get the beautiful cake without getting the best eggs and the best batter and everything else and the best milk or whatever else you use, the best ingredients. You want the best
Right.
cake, you get the best ingredients. You want the best product, you want the best you. Find the best people to talk to and take from.
Right.
Go find
And
the
learn
best
from and
information
grow
to
from.
take from it. And listen, man, I didn't have a father growing up. I took from every man that I thought was a real man. And
Mhm.
even the ones that didn't show, I said, oh, that's what I don't want to be. So we just, in our relationships, we know we got to do better. We got to want to do better. You got to want better for your partner. You got to leave the toxic stuff out of it. You know what I'm saying? If your partner is toxic, they will show you early on. Get
Mhm.
away from them, man. No, don't try to fix a toxic person. There could be a person who has few things, issues that, because none of us are perfect, but if they're empathetic and they look out for you and those kind of things, yeah, those are people you could work with. But if this a toxic person that you just feel their energies off every time they come around, it make you down. You got to run for the hills, man.
Right. You gotta
You
listen to what your body is telling you because it only does what we tell it to do. So if you tell it that you want to be around toxic energy and toxic people and people who are not forward thinking, then that's who you're going to attract. Like you're gonna put out the signals of I like drama, I like chaos, I like conflict. I may not look like it right now, but that's what I thrive on because you want to try to fix the situation. And I know sometimes certain genders or just how you were brought into the family cycle, your positioning, a birth order, whatever, you may feel like you always have to fix something and you always have to like kind of make it better. So it's like be mindful of what it is that you welcome into your energy space.
Yeah, especially you women, man. Y'all got that nurturing, that fix it attitude, that belief, just that nurturing, that loving, that giving spirit, man. You got to be
Hmm.
very protective of that, man, and watch some of this toxic energy you letting into your space, into your body, into your being. Especially if you having sex with this toxic energy, you gonna bring that demon around and then wonder why everything is off and not, going the way it's supposed to. So you know what I'm saying? And fellas, the same thing, man. If she's got 52 different demon souls inside of her, you don't want that around you, man. So let's all be mindful of that, man.
And age, doesn't always necessarily mean maturity. Sometimes you gotta, different people live different experiences, so how they mature is also different. So it's like if you enter into a situation where there's a differential in age, you just have to really have that real talk conversation because hopefully you've already been stimulated in regular conversation and you're not just looking at the exterior of the individual and not their true content or what they bring to the relationship, because then you won't have to deal with the immaturity on a lot of things, as things go down the lines.
Yeah, so I mean, on my end, I'm gonna do two things as we kind of wrap up and close
Okay.
up. Um, again, actually three things. Sorry. Again, those are a list of the books, man. If you got any comments or anything, and you got some books you want to, offer up and share with everybody, please do in the comments or hit us up, man. But I'm gonna keep putting up different kind of books, let you guys know what I'm reading. Once again, if you have a black-owned business or a business that you want
Mhm.
to promote, Get at us, Instagram, Facebook, email, all that kind of stuff, man. Because I'm more than willing and ready to help and help promote your business. So if you have a Black-owned business, holla at us, get at us any way you can.
Mhm.
One thing, again, She Inspires Maryland. I can't get it any closer, and you guys really see it, but She Inspires Maryland. Shawanda Hugh. She has apparel, some really nice drawings and apparels and stuff that she got with young Black ladies on the t-shirts. And lastly, I want to give a shout out and a happy birthday to my brother Marcus Berkeley. Um, Hopefully, one of these weeks I'll have on this shirt.
Mm.
Make results, not excuses. Make results, not excuses. So happy birthday to my brother. Good luck with the t-shirt company, man, and hopefully one of these days soon, man, I'll be having yours on to shoot the podcast. And sorry, four things. We'll have t-shirts with the chocolate crowns coming soon.
So we would just ask if you see the message on the screen, feel free to follow us. The Facebook community is being built between tonight and tomorrow. We will probably be doing most of our streaming from that page once it is set up. And, we just look forward to building our community, because when we see you in the streets, when we get a phone call from you, text, whatever, we definitely love the feedback of how you're vibing with us, because we believe in kings and queens, building us up one conversation at a time. And we're going to talk about a whole bunch of different stuff. So we didn't get to the aspect of intimacy and the different types of relationships, but there's always next Sunday. So until then, feel free to reach out, share your feedback, share your love, and we'll see you next Sunday at 8 o'clock.
If you see a new following on Instagram under Chocolate Crown with the number 8 in it, that's this podcast. So please follow and share it and all that kind of stuff.
Definitely, and I'll make sure I put that in the comments as well. I want to show you guys our logo again if I can. Let me see if it comes up big. That's our logo with the crown popping nice and strong, talking about the different conversations that we'll have, as well as the love languages and relationships. So we hope to just keep it moving. How do I get rid of it? Oh man, now I'm doing too much. So thanks a lot, and we look forward to seeing you next week. Right? Anything else you want to say, Fletch?
Nah, peace. I love y'all. Peace.